$43 million fraud by Foxconn managers selling iPhones made from rejected parts. This story from a couple of days ago. I had to talk about it. It's so interesting. So there's a lot of rejected parts when you're manufacturing millions of devices, and each device has thousands and thousands of components. You got to assume there's stuff that gets rejected, maybe not because it's completely busted, but it just doesn't meet the exact criteria. It might have a tiny little mark on it or something, so it gets rejected. Now, the official protocol inside of Foxconn is to destroy the rejected parts. They got to be destroyed. Well, this particular fraud here alleges that certain individuals inside the facility there were taking those to-be-destroyed parts and keeping them, and actually keeping so many of them that they were able to turn those parts into functioning iPhones and then sell those iPhones over a 3-year period for a total net of $43 million. You imagine that? Do you know what that, you know what's crazy about this story to me? Is not that this took place, but that there's $43 million of thrown out parts over a 3-year span that they got. So that means they couldn't just stop throwing everything out, because all of a sudden the manager comes around and says, wait, garbage can's empty here. Where are the rejects? Yeah. So they could only skim a small amount. So you're talking about maybe it's $400 million worth of parts chucked in the garbage. Whoa. That's a garbage can. That's a garbage can you want to hang out beside that garbage can. Guy like you.
I'm just assembling broken iPhones.
You're just
in the back.
Who knows what's getting chucked in there? Yeah. It's a perfectly good phone with a little nick on it. So
sounds really lucrative.
So anyway, it all came out. A Taiwanese businessman has purportedly worked with a group of management staff at Foxconn's facility to obtain and assemble flawed iPhone parts, which are then sold under the guise of iPhone products manufactured at the Chinese production base. The defective components would have been destroyed according to normal procedures. The businessman and his crime ring have made a fortune out of these illegal dealings. Now, according to some feedback from the former chairman of Foxconn, that's Terry. Remember Terry? We had a cool picture of Terry not too long ago. He had the hat on. He was like running for president of Taiwan or something. Anyway, he's the Foxconn dude. And he said, here's his quote, it would not be surprising for unreasonable things to happen involving a small number of them when you have millions of employees. I mean, it's huge. You have millions of employees. You don't need that many to come up with these types of scams, these types of schemes. And it's actually not the only operation that's been caught. It just happens to be one of the biggest ever reported. $43 million in revenue. That's a big business. Ladies and gentlemen. I don't think you can call that a scam, $43 million.
Does it go back into like the loop? Does it get recycled back to, Apple products?
No.
They just dispose of it.
You're talking about garbage. You're talking about the garbage can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? The landfill?
Yeah.
Does it really?
They burn it right into the atmosphere.
Oh.
Yeah, they gotta... Yeah, don't tell Greta, man. Don't tell Greta what's going on. She's gonna head straight to Foxconn. Maybe you gotta tell her. She's like, what? They threw out $43 million in gadgets.
My way.
Her spidey sense is tingling. She's getting her sailboat and shut them down.
Gretty sense.
Yeah, Gretty sense. She'll go see Terry herself. Shut him down. So anyway, yeah, it's not surprising. I think it's the scale of it that's surprising, that you could do that for 3 years. You gotta start to do the math. Who knew about it? Who didn't? $43 million is a nice little business.
And that's just iPhones.
Just iPhones.
It's not like
just iPhones.
Hardware.
Now you can understand why Apple would be mad, because now you got these iPhones floating around.
Yeah, they're not certified.
It's got a badge on it. Yeah. People think they got a real iPhone, but then that person got a deal, so they kind of know. The person who buys kind of like, whatever. But Will. You ever been to Shenzhen before? Shenzhen? You ever been there?
Yes.
Yeah, you have. You walk through the marketplace.
A lot of iPhones.
You walk through the marketplace.
They're all running Android.
You walk through that place, and it's stacks of iPhones. Like, they're not even stored like phones, just elastic bands around iPhones. You remember that?
Yeah, people were plastic wrapping and then using the hair dryer to kind of like shrink wrap it
Yep. It was
right
just
on the side.
like iPhones were some kind of a currency. I'll give you 10 iPhones
Yeah.
for a bucket of mackerel. I mean, that's some top tier. That's some sushi grade mackerel.
Yeah.
Maybe some tuna. Like the real, what was the biggest
The
deal they
bluefin
ever
tuna.
did on that one tuna?
1.3.
You're talking about $1 million tuna.
Yeah.
So these guys in this scam, they get all the tuna they want
Oh yeah.
with this scam right here. Top sushi. Anyway, so yeah, it's been crazy story. $43 million in stolen iPhone parts that were supposed to be thrown out. You know, the weird thing about this scam is you kind of sit there and you say to yourself, well, okay, humans are using those phones. They were able to put them together. They're able to use them. They would have just been disposed of, possibly recycled, like you said. But like, let's just say for a second, disposed of. You had to mine these components from the earth. You had to suck them out of the earth. Do you have any Robin Hood vibes where you're saying to yourself, hey, man, they took these parts, are going to be thrown out anyways?
In a way, yeah.
You go, okay, not much.
Well, I mean, like they can live without phones. When you're talking about Robin Hood, I was thinking like food, like survival stuff, but you know, the people buying the phones. That's what I'm thinking. They could live without.
Willie do. Willie do. Bringing the heat today. That's a no coffee Willie do right there.
Yeah. I'm as mad as Greta.
Yeah, no, but still, you understand from Apple's perspective whether, I mean, nobody really got like personally harmed here or hurt.
Yeah.
But from Apple's perspective, imagine this stuff's going out the side door. People used to say this about Nike stuff. You would get the Nike counterfeit Nikes, and they're just so good. And you'd be sitting there saying, how do they manage it? And people would always use the term, they say, oh, went out the back door.
Yeah,
They're
literally.
manufacturing these extra ones and send it out the back door. So the brand themselves, you can totally understand why they'd be upset. It makes sense.
Yes.